All right, listen up, y'all.
Greetings, everybody. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. I am your educator, your host educator, Mr. Abdullah, giving you education from a black male educator's perspective, particularly foundational black American male. Today, I want to go ahead and go back in time just a little bit to discuss briefly the Biden student loan hustle.
One of the things that we've talked about as well is canceling a portion of the student loan debt. Joe Biden didn't do that the proper way. He did that through the HEROES Act instead of the Higher Education Act. Elizabeth Warren, Ayanna Pressley, and Chuck Schumer knew this last year when they drafted this and they told him how to do it through the Higher Education Act. So I honestly felt like this was just a ploy to get people to come out and vote in the midterms. And there was a high amount of young voter turnout in the midterms. And part of it had to do with canceling part of that student loan debt, and then also the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Then immediately after the midterms, a judge strikes it down, which I believe personally that Joe Biden knew that that was a possibility when he did it the way that he did it.
Shout out to Sabby Sabs or Sabrina Salvati. She's an excellent podcaster. She does a lot of work when it comes to politics. If you get a chance, please sign up for her on YouTube. Her work is excellent. And this particular short, she spoke on how the Biden loan repayment debt relief plan was purposely and intentionally set up so that it could not go through. If you did not know, Biden was one of the senators who broke ranks with the Democrats to vote with Republicans to make it so that you could not put student loan debt into your bankruptcy. Once again, I want you to remember that President Biden was one of the Democrats who voted so that you could not put your student loan debt into a bankruptcy. And briefly, let's go here. According to the education, U.S. Department of Education, ed.gov, Biden-Harris administration continues effort to provide debt relief for more student loan borrowers. Let's go into that. It says that the Biden-Harris administration today continued its critical efforts to deliver student debt relief to as many borrowers as possible through negotiated rulemaking under the Higher Education Act, releasing draft regulatory text for specific categories of borrowers and outlining next steps to consider relief options for borrowers experiencing hardship. Well, if you're talking about doing debt relief, why must I have to experience hardship? You recognize that the debt is crippling. We have many people that are working in private sectors and in public sectors who just need the relief, especially now during this fiscal crisis. Forgiveness delivered to borrowers through negotiated rulemaking will build on the historic actions the Biden-Harris administration has already taken to provide student debt relief to millions of Americans. To date, the Biden administration has approved $127 billion in debt relief for nearly 3.6 million borrowers and launched the most affordable student loan repayment plan in history, the SAVE plan. You know, I think that our government really takes advantage of the fact that most of us have an impoverished mindset. And for most of us, when we hear $127 billion, we like, man, they getting rid of that paper. They are really helping the country. Well, let's put that into perspective. First things first, as of June 2023, the federal student loan debt balance was just over $1.63 trillion. Now, if you never had a trillion, never had a billion, never had a million, that sounds like an enormous amount. And it sounds like, well, shoot, 127 billion, that's probably close to it. Well, let's use math. 127 billion is only 7.79% of 1.63 trillion. You got hustled. So I, like many others, are a single issue, sometimes two issue voter individual. I vote for two things. If you're not talking about these two things, cash payments, reparations for foundational black Americans, and an anti-black hate crime bill, if you're not talking about that, Mr. Abdullah is not going to vote for you. So there were many of people, most of them millennials, who voted for President Biden under one reason, their one single issue, which I have no problem with being a single issue voter. And if you voted for him because of student loan debt relief, and you don't see that you got hustled, I feel bad for the country in 2024. I really think you need to reconsider. It's just an opinion because I never tell people how to vote. I just tell people what makes sense. And in the world of academia, I know that there are plenty of educators who are wishing that they could get their debts relieved for that bachelor's, that master's, and sometimes maybe that doctorate. Once again, this is Mr. Abdullah with another episode of All Things Education Official. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Let me know. Tell me what you're thinking. Email me at info@allthingseducator.com. Give me some topics. Tell me some things that the people want to hear about education. Once again, you are dismissed.
Yeah! You are all expurgated.